Welcome to the first episode of the Seagrove sessions. These podcasts will showcase stories and memories from some of the members who attend North Edinburgh Dementia Care's Seagrove Centre. We start with an episode looking at growing up and childhood. We hear from Pat, Ricky, Judith, Joan, Vi and Vi, Robert, Betty, Stuart and another Betty. Tales of tenement living, travelling to school on the tram, holidays in Cleethorpes and Pittenweems, playing in the street, football in the park and at Easter Road and Hampden. We hear about being evacuated and playing on a wartime airbase. Memories from the 1930s to the 1970s. Stories from Grimsby to Penicuik, from Cumbria to Leith. Enjoy.
There was like 6 years along one landing, and the 6 of you shared this one toilet, and it was a nightmare, and sometimes folk hadn't flushed it right, and then my mother took in her two brothers. I had two sisters and a brother, and then there was me, the baby, who was washed in a basin. And then when I was 5, we moved down to Pilton, which was known as Ferry Road Drive. And then we found out that we had 3 bedrooms. There was the front room, the back room, and then the big bedroom. So I, being the youngest, I used to sleep in the big bedroom with my mother.
Stories Alley was where I was born. A narrow street, mostly just with shops. I went to Dr. Bell's primary school in Great Junction Street. I left Dr. Bell's and went to Leith Academy, which is the secondary school. I played football for the school, and we used on a Thursday afternoon. We used to do training at Easter Road, which was good as well. I played right half or left half, this depends. My mum was a cleaner in Leith Academy School. My dad was an engineer in Brown Brothers. Brown Brothers was a pilrig. I used to go and meet him every day when the siren went off. And I used to go down the back door, which leads on to Pilrig, and just for a chum, just getting a chum back home, like, you know.
Well, actually, the nursing home was in Cleethorpes. So I was actually born in Cleethorpes, but I consider myself a Grimbarian. And it was a good living. My father was a policeman, and I felt that every policeman that I passed knew who I was, you know.
In a good way?
In a good way, yes. But the town itself was a pleasure to be in, to be quite honest. There was no problem as far as that. There was nowhere in the town my father said, you do not go, you know, so I felt quite happy, quite safe in the town altogether. Everybody assumes because it was a fishing port that the town would smell of fish, and it doesn't. Fresh fish has no flavour and no smell. To the village school to start with, that was in Scartho, and in those days you walked to school. In fact, you walked everywhere.
Bellevue to start with, and then Agnew Terrace, which is off Ferry Road, beside Leith Park. And that was it. And Upper Villa for start with, and then of course lost my dad, and then went to a top floor flat, tram car down to Golden Acre, from Bellevue down to Golden Acre, from Golden Acre to Craig Hall, and then walked up to school for Craig Hall.
No, we weren't really allowed. There were parks, quite a few parks. We could go up there and play, but you couldn't because there were tram cars going up and down the street all the way, so you couldn't have played out there.
Yes, play in the street a lot. We had one of the smooth tarred work surfaces on, and which allowed you to use roller skates very easily. It was lovely, and things seemed to go in seasons. 1 minute everybody would be playing with their roller skates, the next minute it'll be kickball fly, and it just seemed happening.
Just every season. So it was. This is when you played, peaver beds or skip ropes, rounders, you name it. It just sort of went into
seasons. It did. It did. Kickball fly. You all stood in a group, and the ball there, one person kicked it, and everybody else scattered in and hid in the gardens, which wasn't the most popular thing with adults.
That's a mere picture.
And everybody tried to get back to the ball.
My dad was a basket maker, and my mother coined the Century Insurance Officer. That was in West End or George Street, somewhere there. I used to make baskets. No, I used to do them in the house and sell them. I've 6 brothers and 4 sisters. Willie, Jimmy, George, Bobby, Tommy and Eddie. That was the 6. Peggy, Nancy, Violet, June and Evelyn. My mother was an orphan, imagine. She's put me on earth an orphan, but by Christ, is making sure I wasn't lonely, giving me all the bairns. I went to Forrest Stevenson's. I went to Pennywell Primary, and then I went to Forrest Stevenson's. You had to have high marks to go there. And we used to have our prize giving in the Usher Hall. And my mother, I was top of the class, my mother used to come for the Century Insurance Office after cleaning it to come and see me get my prize.
When the weather was fine and we were growing up at weekends, we were in about 10 minutes down from the beach, and so we could get down, to play down in the beach, not on our own, with my family. And we could walk there and walk back.
I had a friend in the street, and her grandma lived in Cleethorpes, so we would spend our summer holidays at Cleethorpes. Yes, I had seaside holidays.
I went to Pittenweem for our holidays. I used to go to Mrs. I can see the attics, but I can't remember who. But we just had an attic room with 2 concealed beds, and that was it. Yeah. Sister and I in one bed, and Mum and Dad in the other bed, and that was it. The toilet was underneath the stairs. That's it. You just thought it was got away. We had a holiday. I can remember coming off the train at Pittenweem, and it was quite a wee bit of distance away from where we had the house. We never thought anything of it, because there was boys there with their wheelbarrows, and they used to take the cases down, and that was it. You never thought they went away with the cases. It could have been away, but you never gave that a thought. You'd have went down and dropped it off at Mrs. So-and-so's, and that's it.
I was born in the Penicuik area. My dad was the only guy digging the stuff in one particular part, and it fell to pieces, and he was killed instantly. And I was a wee laddie, very young. My mother obviously took terrible state because of that. 4 of us boys came into Penicuik. Mum eventually took up with somebody else. We came in to Edinburgh. It's a huge thing. It's absolutely huge. We were different parts of our life, obviously, because we came to Leith. I then took in looking after my brothers, who were a bit younger than me. Made it my business to keep my brothers in place and behave themselves, which was difficult. Everything. Kick the balls, anything, and we'd walk for ages. Came after that was the Boys Brigade, because the Boys Brigade gave us this male figure. It helped me marvellously. Helped me.
Well, I was brought up in the south side, in the Canongate. I stayed in the Canongate next to the school. We moved about quite a lot. Dummy dates, yes.
I loved the dummy dykes. Oh, and the swings and everything. My mum was a cleaner. My dad was a riveter in Redpath Brown. My dad taught me to dance, and dancer, jiver, do the twist, put him over his bag, ballroom dancer. My mum was quiet.
My mum was a nurse and my dad was a manufacturer's agent. Sell cleaning products. Yes, he had a company car. My dad would drive me to my football games on a Saturday and we'd take the car. I was constantly out practising my football in the street, yeah, absolutely. A couple of boys that lived in the street as well, they were out with me. I was lucky enough to live right opposite a big grass field and we played football on all the time. The minute I was finished my tea, I was out playing on the field with all the local boys. Played initially for the school team in the boys' brigade. And then when I was about 12, I joined Clarkston Amateurs, local amateur team. And then about 14, I moved on to Glasgow Amateurs. I was a hopeful at that point in time. I hoped to become a footballer. And then I went to Celtic Boys Club. So certain of my teammates made it to the first team, but I didn't make it to the first team. You know, I always had my foot in the ground. My mother always said, you have to have a backup plan. And school was my backup plan. But it was the right thing to do because I didn't get picked up by a senior club, and then I went to play for Queen's Park because my school team had reached the final of the Scottish Schoolboys Cup final. So I've fortunate enough I've played at Hampden Park a few times. It was good, big pitch, took a lot out of you. But I played against, well, he's now a famous footballer, Maurice Johnston.
Oh dear, that's a hard one. Started off at Royston School, which I was very happy in. Then I was evacuated and I went with my aunt and uncle down in England. They didn't have children at all. And my aunt didn't want to go out to work in war work. So because my mother had my brother, she let me go with my Auntie Millie and I stayed with her off and on. And every 2 months she brought me up to Edinburgh to see my mother and my brother and my dad. And that was how I got through the war. Wicton, Carlisle, all round that area. My uncle worked for the Air Ministry. He employed all the workers for for repairs and everything. That's why I got to go in and out the airport without any bother. I used to go to the office sometimes with them, and one of the girls would say, come on, I'll take you for a walk or something. No, never up, but I got to go through the plane, stand and watch an engineer pointing everything out, and they said to me, now do you know what I'm talking about? And I said, no. And they said, oh. All the airports that he was in, they had tremendous concerts. They had a great deal of talent in each one of them. And because my uncle was quite high up, I hung on to him and got in places I shouldn't have got. I was a horror.
That was episode 1 of the Seagrove Sessions, a series of podcasts from the Seagrove Centre in Edinburgh. We hope you enjoyed these memories of childhood and growing up. North Edinburgh Dementia Care is an independent registered charity established in a church at Boswell Parkway in 1990. We now have purpose-built premises, the Seagrove Centre in Fleming Place in the grounds of what used to be the old Eastern General Hospital. Here we run daycare services for people living with dementia. For further information, go to our website at www.nedc.org.uk or our phone number is 0131 553 7147. And thank you for listening.